It's not possible. I didn't say it would be easy, Neo.
Good morning. We'd like to ask the Concordia facility to please turn your camera on. And while you're doing that, we're going to start with our preliminaries. The Committee on Parole is called to order. Today is Tuesday, May 21st, 2024. The time is 9:04 a.m. My name is Cheryl Renatza, serving as chairman of today's parole panel. My colleagues on the panel today, seated to my left is Mr. Danny Barra, and to my right is Mr. Chucky Tillis. We are at DOC headquarters in Baton Rouge, and I'd like to get staff here to introduce yourself for the record, please.
Carla Williams.
Francis Avenue.
And our first remote location this morning is at the Concordia Parish Correctional Center. Would any staff at Concordia please introduce yourself for the record? I think y'all are on mute still. Good morning. You're on mute. Can you unmute the microphone? She's trying. There we try
Good
again.
morning. My name is Sergeant Connie Thorpe with Concordia Corrections.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thanks for accommodating us this morning. I think we have before us Mr. Willis. Mr. Willis, would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and DOC number.
My name is Robert Charles Willis, DOC number 769-1111. 119.
119, got it. Okay, so Mr. Willis, could you sit up, please, so we can see your whole face? I can only see. There you go. That's better. Appreciate it. You heard the introductions. Did you hear the introductions of the panel?
No, ma'am, I didn't.
All right, well, let me do that. Let me introduce the panel to you. My name is Cheryl Renatza. To my left is Mr. Danny Barra, and to my right is Mr. Chucky Tillis. Before we begin, I'd like to recognize those who have joined us. We have Mr. Richard Upshaw, Ms. Crystal Upshaw, who both will be speaking. Leona Fitzgerald with the Caddo Victims Assistance Coordinator's Office, and Kristen Parsons, also a Victim Assistance Coordinator with us. I will read some identifying information into the record, Mr. Willis. I'll ask you to verify that information. Then I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Barra. Your case has been assigned to him. He'll take the lead on the questions.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Mr. Willis, you are Robert C. Willis. As you mentioned, your DOC number is 769-119. You are currently serving a 9-year, 6-month sentence, having been sentenced April 26, 2022 in Caddo Parish for aggravated battery and domestic abuse battery. You have a parole eligibility date, which was December 14, 2023. And your mandatory good time release date is May 5th, 2029. Does that sound correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Would you answer Mr. Barra's questions, please?
Sure. Morning, Mr. Willis. Looking at your record, I had some questions about some of the prior stuff. On February 23rd, 1994, you pled guilty to aggravated assault and simple battery, family violence, and resisting an officer was dismissed as part of that plea. Can you tell me what happened in that case and who was the victim in that case? Was it the same person?
No, sir. It was my ex-wife. I vaguely remember that. I think she and I had got into an argument about my clothes. I was supposed to go out and wanted my clothing, and she wouldn't give them to me. I think that's the incident.
About clothes, and it turned into a simple battery and family violence.
Right, right.
All right. Well, then after that one, on January 15, 2003, you pled guilty to violation of a protective order. Who filed that protective order against you? Was that the same ex-wife?
Right. Yes, yes.
And what happened there when you violated that protective order?
Again, I was supposed to go over and get my belongings. She had called me and asked me if she could borrow like $40. And I was supposed to go over and get my clothes if I gave her the $40. But I tried to call her and she never would answer the phone, so I went over anyway. So I go over and there's a guy sitting in the house. So I broke into the house.
But you didn't know there was a protective order against you at that time?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. All right. So it's still the same person right there.
Right.
On October 29th, 2010, you pled guilty to domestic abuse battery. Is that still the same ex-wife?
No.
No, someone different?
Right.
Who was that one?
That was my ex-girlfriend, Nita Bloomer.
And what happened there to get you arrested for domestic battery?
She and I got into an argument over, I had got a phone call on my phone, and she was going through my phone when I came out of the bathroom. Tried to get my phone, she threw it and broke it. And from there, you know, we got into a tussle over that. I picked her up, set her on the outside of the house, told her to leave. She came back in, hit me in the head with a belt buckle. And we got into a disagreement with that.
All right. Then on March 25th, 2011, almost a year later, aggravated battery with a dangerous weapon gets dismissed. Can you tell me what happened in that case that got dismissed and who was the victim in that case?
2011?
Yeah, March 25th, 2011. You had an aggravated battery with a dangerous weapon. The charge ended up getting dismissed. You didn't go to court. The charge got dismissed.
I don't remember that. That 2010 was the last one.
You don't remember nothing about 2000 happened there in
2011, no.
Okay, well, let's move up to the current case. This case that we're here to talk about right now. In this case, why did you tase and stab Crystal Upshaw? What was the problem? What caused that to happen?
I didn't hear you.
In this current case that you're asking us for parole for right now, why did you feel you needed to tase and stab Crystal Upshaw? What did she do? What did you do? What was the problem with that? What caused that to happen?
Sir, she was never tased. There was never a taser or anything found. Even the police said that. She and I had got into a disagreement over a cell phone. I had put some, or I tried to put some cell phone blocks on the phone that her daughter had, but I didn't think the things would gone through. But they did. Her daughter tried to use the phone that morning and she couldn't. So she comes in all angry and upset about me putting the blocks on the phone, telling me to leave. She was hitting on me. And I should have just got my phone and keys and left, sir. But that's not what happened. She and I got into a physical altercation. And sir, there's nothing I can do to justify picking up a knife. I can't justify that. I have to take the blame for that. My life wasn't in danger or anything like that. There's nothing I can say to that, sir. There's nothing I can say to justify that.
Right.
Nothing.
So why do you think we should grant you parole today? Why are you a changed man than the guy that I see here on paper? What's different now than it was during all the times I asked you about the past? You know, why would we think we should let you go?
Sir, back then I had to have things my way, sir. I was somebody who wanted to control things, and me being in here and going through my Celebrate recovery, starting my recovery through Christ and Malachi Dads and all of that, my classes and everything I've taken, I'm just learning, sir, that it's just best to walk away from some situations. I didn't think about the consequences of anything. Now, I can see the consequences of it, sir. And the consequences of it are me being here. There's nobody to blame but me for being in here. I can't blame her. She's to blame for what she did. I'm to blame for what I did. I'm to blame for being here. She's not to blame for that. I'm here for what I did. And I'm not here to defame her or talk bad about her. I'm not going to do that. I take full responsibility for what I did. And I'm trying to correct that here. And I hope I've done that. I'm trying to. And I think, you know, I just want to get my life back together. That's all. I just want to move on. And if I can do that, I'm good. I'm good.
Have you been in trouble while you're there? Have you had any write-ups, any fighting? Have you had any write-ups for fighting or any kind of write-ups while in prison?
While in prison?
Yeah, since you've been there.
I came down with COVID-19. First couple of weeks that I got to jail, and they thought I was going to die. And I don't remember the incident, but because I was out of it most of the time, but they bought me some paperwork and told me that the guy that I was in the cell with attacked me in the cell. I don't remember it. I was out of it. And they put him in lockdown. So that's the only incident with that I've had. And I don't even remember that clearly.
Can anyone staff at the location there verify that that is correct, that it was only one violation? Is anybody there?
That didn't happen at this facility. That happened in my parish in Canada.
No.
But at this facility, I hadn't had any problems or anything. Nothing like that. It's been pretty good here. Been pretty good. I get along with everybody here. Staff, inmates, everything. I get along with everybody.
All right. That's the end of my question.
So when you mentioned, Mr. Willis, we were talking about the current incident with the cell phone and Miss Upshaw and the child's phone. How old was that child?
I think she was 9 at the time.
So this stabbing took place in front of her?
I think so.
Well, that's a yes or no. Yes or no. Yes or no.
I believe so.
And how many times did you stab Miss Upshaw?
Once.
Okay. So when you were, you mentioned you haven't had any issues since you've been there, and you mentioned you're celebrating recovery. What other programs have you been able to take?
I've taken the Malachi Dads program. I'm in the Recovery Through Christ program now. I've had the Living in Balance 1 and 2, Change Your Age, and your anger management classes that are.
What did you learn from anger management?
I've learned, ma'am, that you don't blame anybody for your actions. And that's what I've been doing. I've been blaming people for my actions. And I'm responsible for that. You know, I could have walked away instead of turning around, coming back. I should have just kept going, you know, especially with the situation the way it was. But I take responsibility for that, you know, learning just to walk away. And there's just some things that are just not worth arguing or fighting. Some things is just best to walk away from. And if there's nothing,
how long have you been in jail, Mr.
Say anything.
Mr. Willis? How long have you been in jail?
I've been in jail going on 4 years.
So you've served about 4 years of your 9.5-year sentence.
Yes, ma'am.
And how old are you?
55.
You are classified as a first offender, but Mr. Barra went over some other arrests. So you've been in jail before. Is this the longest period of time you've been in jail?
Yes.
All right, Sergeant Thorpe, is there anything you can tell us about Mr. Willis?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Willis is our trustee out here in our offices in the, we call it the drug building, but it's where we have all our classes and everything. And, he's having some medical issues, and I'm trying to get the nurse to see if I could get her to come out here so she could tell y'all what was going on with his medical issues, if that's okay. Y'all have time for me to get her out here?
Is she close?
She's probably about 3 minutes out.
Okay, well, we'll go ahead and move on and hear from those who want to speak, and we'll hear from her right at the end.
All right, thank you so much.
And ma'am, I have my cousin, she had wanted to participate, and Miss Book had sent her information in, her phone number and everything, so.
We haven't heard from her this morning, so I don't know if she's having some difficulties, but we're gonna go ahead and move on, Mr. Willis. We'd like to hear from that if there are other questions. I'm sorry.
No, I think you answered the ones I wanted to know.
Could we hear from Mr. Richard Upshaw? Still on the phone?
Let me ask you this.
Okay.
If you are granted parole, where are you probably planning to go back? Because it seems like the history that you had with your girlfriends and your ex-wife, you continue to have a relationship with them. Where would you go to live?
I have a cousin that lives out in the country that spoke to me and said that I can come and live with him until I get my own place back in Shreveport.
So that's where your girlfriend and the ex-wife is?
Is that where I'm going?
Is that where your girlfriend and your ex-wife is?
They live in Shreveport.
So you plan to go back, or you'll probably be around them again?
No, sir. Probably be in the same city, but no, not hanging out. No.
Mr. Upshaw? We're trying to, Mr. Upshaw's logging in. Mr. Upshaw, are you with us? There you are. Sir, we'd like to hear what you'd like us to know.
Okay, I just feel like that Mr. Willis already got a break. I think he already got a break because he committed this crime in front of my grandchild, right? In front of a small child. And he got 3 years extra, I believe, for that, but it runs concurrent. So in the real world, he's really not serving any extra time for that. So that gives him 2 for 1 on 3 of his years already. I would like y'all to consider the fact that he actually planned this out. He had it planned out. He brought the stun gun and the knife, whatever he used, with him that day. He wasn't living there anymore. He came up and asked her, could he just come in and lay down and take a nap? This was planned out. If I had not answered the phone that morning, my daughter would not be here. He told her he was going to kill her. And if he had successfully killed her, what do you think he would have done with the only witness to that being my granddaughter? I don't think I would have either one of them today. So I don't think he's learned his lesson. He's got a past history of violence with women already. And I just don't think he should be getting out. I don't think he served enough time to be fair punishment for what he did.
Yes, sir, Mr. Upshaw. Thank you. We appreciate so much you sharing those thoughts with us.
Yes,
Crystal, Ms. Fitzgerald, is Crystal with you?
Good morning. Yes, ma'am. Crystal's right here to my right.
Okay, good. Crystal, good morning. We'd like to hear from you, ma'am.
I just want to talk a little bit about the stuff that happened to me, my injuries. I got stabbed multiple times. The worst one was the one in my face. It went all the way through. This whole side of my mouth it no longer works. I can't use mouthwash. If I go out to eat, food falls out of my mouth. I have several other scars all over my body where the knife just sliced me. He threw me around and beat me for so long that I had a collapse and punctured lung, and I had a chest tube for 4 days. I spent about 5 days in the hospital and another week and a half at home and missed a lot of work. I still have really bad anxiety and PTSD from it. And it's not only me, it's my daughter. She's just now gaining back a little bit of peace of mind to be able to go to school or go outside and think everything's okay. She still doesn't do a lot of stuff without me. She's got really bad separation anxiety. But we're just doing our best to get through it. And no time will ever be enough time. But I think it's too soon for him to be released.
Oh, Lord. Ms. Fitzgerald?
I don't know if they can see me on there or not. Hi, how are you?
Before we hear from Ms. Fitzgerald, we'd like to go ahead and hear from the nurse. Is that okay, Ms. Fitzgerald?
Yes, please. Thank you.
All right. Go ahead, ma'am. If we could adjust the camera just slightly downward.
Come adjust this and turn them. I can't hear it. Volume up with it.
There we go. A little better. All right, ma'am, we can hear you just fine. You want to tell us a little bit about some health issues?
Yes, ma'am. He's been having some recent health issues with anemia. He had a bunch of tests done at the hospital. He was having some severe diarrhea and things like that. So what we're working on, I haven't put his paperwork in yet. Doctor's watching his labs. He had a hemoglobin of like 7.6, which is on the borderline of receiving blood. We put him on iron, but he's got a gastrointestinal consult to go to. We don't have an appointment on that yet, but doc diagnosed him with severe anemia. So we really don't know what's going on yet, but we're waiting to get results.
Well, we appreciate you sharing that with us. Thank you. We appreciate you sharing that with us.
If there's anything else, I can send you paperwork if you need it also.
I will put a copy in the file if you'll send it over.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Willis, before we move to Ms. Fitzgerald to close it out for us, I have one question, then I'm going to ask you for your closing statement. The child in question that we're talking about, Rania, I don't really know how to pronounce her name, the 9-year-old child who was present. Was that your child as well?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so that's Miss Crystal's child, not your biological child.
Right.
Is there a statement you'd like to say to us before we turn it over to Ms. Fitzgerald?
Yes, ma'am. I never tased anybody. I never came or planned out anything. I was still staying there at the time. I came there. What Mr. Upshaw said was true. I came there to lay down and because I slept in the car all night. and I thought everything was pretty good, so I decided I was going to get up and go and leave. I'd already started looking for me somewhere to go. I'd already decided that at the end of the month that I was going to move. She didn't know that. She suspected that. But I never planned out anything as to come there and do anything to anybody. I never tased anybody. There was a taser never found at the scene or anywhere. She never had any taser marks on her anywhere. That never happened. The other parts of it, that's true what she said. That's true. The taser part never happened. Punctured lung, all of this. I don't know anything about that. I heard that at the trial. You know, it was never mentioned in any paperwork, even in her statement, if you had it, that she said herself that she never had they don't know why her lung collapsed, that there was no knife mark wound done to her lung. None of that, ma'am. None of that. But like I said, I'm not gonna try to make her look bad or anything. Like I said, you know, I'm to blame for all of that. I'm to blame for what I did, you know, and she has a right to feel the way she feels. Her dad has a right to feel the way he feels. I don't have a problem with that. I really don't. I understand that, you know, but I'm trying to do everything I can to get myself together so I can get my life restarted. You know?
Okay. Yes, sir. Well, thank you so much. We're going to move on to Ms. Fitzgerald. Would you close it out for us?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. I'm Leone Fitzgerald. I'm the director of the Victim Assistance Program for the Caddo Parish DA's office. And I'm here with Crystal today, but I would like to speak on behalf of the office. Of course, we oppose parole for Mr. Willis. I've been waiting for him to give me something that would give me a little hope about him, but unfortunately, I mean, he pretty much just sounds like the victim in all of this. I'm glad that Mr. Barra went through his rap sheet with him, because when you look at it, it's not the worst rap sheet that I've ever seen, but it is absolutely textbook in line with a narcissistic batterer controller who, like, the violation of protective order, because nobody's going to tell him what to do. The law, the court, if he wants to go over to somebody's house, he's going to go over there. And all of the explanations that he gave were what the other person did. And I never heard him really say, you know, I did a dumb thing, or I knew I wasn't supposed to go over there, but I did it anyway. It was just going to get my clothes. Or we argued over her throwing his phone and got into a tussle. Well, how does, you know, everyone's husband might have thrown their phone, but that doesn't mean somebody ends up getting arrested. So I'm very unimpressed with the way that Mr. Willis recounted his previous criminal history. And then just to focus on what he's here for today, I'm amazed at how poor his memory can be about things that were very significant, like not remembering if Renea was there whenever he attacked Crystal. She was very much there. She was very much scared to death, and he was actually convicted of domestic abuse with child endangerment, which means that it was proven beyond a reasonable doubt that he did this in the presence of a minor. But it's so insignificant to him that he doesn't even remember if she was there or not. I don't know why Mr. Willis is so adamant about denying the business with the taser, because it was talked about in his jury trial. Miss Upshaw very much was tased. In fact, she's given me permission to show a scar that she still has right here from a taser, even though Mr. Willis seems to know that she doesn't have any scars from it. This was a prolonged attack. This man took a knife to this lady, and you've heard about the lasting scars that she has, the lasting results from it, the injuries, the effect that it still has on her, drooling when she tries to eat. So I don't think that Mr. Willis is very aware of how his behavior and his violence affects other people. And for a 9-year-old child to have to witness something like this being done to her mother and live with the aftermath and be scared to be away from her mother, and he doesn't even remember if she was there. So I think that he's willing to admit to the knife to this board because the knife was found, and he can't deny that. But he won't admit to the taser because what does he keep saying? There was no taser found. There was no taser found. Well, just because it wasn't found didn't mean that he didn't use it. So I think he's admitting to just enough and saying just enough to accept responsibility to bamboozle this board so that he can get out and go on to do the same thing to more unsuspecting women. So on behalf of the DA's office, I respectfully request that you deny his parole. If the court does see fit to grant him parole, we would ask that he not be allowed to return to Caddo Parish. I'm sure none of his victims want him here, and that would definitely put Crystal and her daughter in great fear and cause them even more anxiety to know that he was back here in the city of Shreveport. So thank you very much for letting me speak.
All right, and thank you, ma'am. We appreciate your participation. Mr. Willis?
Ma'am, can I say something?
No, we're ready to vote now. We're prepared to vote. Mr. Byra will be voting first.
Before I vote, I just want to add to the record something that did not come out was that there's extremely strong law enforcement opposition. The judge is opposed, the sheriff is opposed, as you heard, the DA is opposed, chief of police is opposed, and that's all in the towns where you committed the crime and want to go back to. So today, I vote to deny the parole based on the serious nature of the crime you committed in this case and your prior history of violent behavior, the strong law enforcement opposition and victim opposition.
Okay, Mr. Tillis?
Mr. Willis, it seems like you're trying to make some progress, and that's good. Sound like you admitted to what you've done, and that's good. I think you need some more training. Seem like you have a problem with, like you said yourself, being in charge, and you can't do that all the time. And because of the crime that you've done, I think some more training, and you probably keep your nose clean and keep going. I'm going to have to deny also.
Mr. Willis, you do have some really some letters in the record of support from the folks there at the facility where you're at. You're really doing a good job, and they speak very highly of you. That doesn't negate, though, what we've heard today in the strong opposition. And, I do agree that with Mr. Upshaw about your sentence, I think you got a light sentence, but I think you need some more training. I would encourage you, if you have, if it's available to you there, to take the victim awareness class. I think you would benefit from that and have a better understanding of all your victims. My vote today is to deny based on the strong opposition that's been expressed today and the history of domestic abuse violence. But I do wish you well. I hope that you stay the course and you continue working on yourself like you said. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
That concludes our business in Concordia. Thank you, Sergeant Thorpe, for accommodating us. We're going to sign off at 9:37.
Thank you.
Thank you. Y'all have a blessed day.